Roger, you're kind of a little dark over there.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna fix this. Cool. A little bit better.
A little bit, not really.
Cool. You get the dark, Roger.
The dark side.
The dark side. How's that? A little bit better? Cool.
Yeah, that's better. All right. Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Level Up Amazon podcast. So today we have Roger with us. Thank you so much, Roger, for joining us today.
Of course, pleasure. Thanks for the invite.
Awesome. Thank you, Howard, as always. Awesome. So Howard, Roger, we would love to know a little bit of your background. Like,
Sure.
how did you get into this RPO?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Our RPO is recruitment process outsourcing. I guess it's not something that many people know. Typically, it's part of an HR function, but how I started in this is started as a corporate or as an agency recruiter. So people that help others find jobs or help companies find people. Did that for a couple of years, and then the company that I worked for at the time tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, we won this big RPO account for one of these international banks. We want you to go in there and lead the team to help them do the recruiting." So that's how I first dabbled into it, and that was, I want to say, about 16 years ago. So ever since that, I've led RPO teams from 4 or 5 people to ones that are probably 50, 60 people, and then now currently about 100 people supporting various clients on recruiting. So my background is really HR and recruiting, and kind of what I'm looking at these days is how to help companies grow, scale, and find their best talent.
So I kind of known Roger since the college, right? We were in UC San Diego, and then he went to. Tell me about it. What's the journey where you were from school and then to where you're at right now?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one that's off the beaten path, if you will. So graduated, went to school with Howard in UCSD, graduated there, worked in the US for 2 years, and then got bored of life and thought, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere. At the time, Asia was the place to be. I believe it still is. And I thought, you know what, heads for Hong Kong, tails for Singapore, flipped the coin, landed on heads. And so Hong Kong I went. So went there with 2 luggages about 16 years ago. Partied, enjoyed life, got into recruitment, did all this recruiting stuff while being in Asia. 16 years later, decided to move back to the US, and here we are having this conversation.
So he was in Hong Kong, I was in Shenzhen. So we get to see each other once in a while when he comes to Shenzhen. For parties, for friends' birthdays,
there you go.
And also and for like special events, Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, we go over to Hong Kong and then we go visit Roger. Roger's a family man, so sometimes it's hard for him to come out. But when he can't come out, we see the wild Roger.
There you go. We all have a blast,
Yeah.
Work hard, play hard.
I wanted to bring Roger on to the podcast is because I wanted to let everyone know what is RPO and why is RPO important to your company to scale, because a lot of people think that it's not really for them, if they're too big or they're too small, but I think it's for all sizes of company. I mean, Roger has if you're saying that you're too big, like even Goldman Sachs hired Roger to help them with their RPO, where they maybe Roger can say more about that part, but go ahead, Roger.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So in terms of size of companies that use RPO, anywhere from startups all the way to Fortune 100 companies. So many of these companies do use them. So just like what Howard said, some of the investment banks also use RPOs as a solution for their recruiting and talent strategies. Is usually how I would share it, because there's many different facets to it. But the important part is looking at your company's strategy, and then finding the right solution to partner, and kind of give you that the scalability, really. So I think that's the core of why people use RPOs, the scalability of that model. So particularly to what Howard just said, Amazon, e-commerce, this is probably an area that is going to see a big uptake in these RPO related talent strategies. And I say talent strategies because the best way to look at RPOs is something that's quite standard, right? The more standard it is, the easier it is to outsource to a provider to support you. So when you look at these e-commerce businesses, quite a bit of it is quite standard as well. Because again, you're on Amazon's platform, you're on Shopify's platform. Essentially, a lot of the task is repeatable work. So because it's standard and repeatable, it makes sense that you don't have to hire your whole team. You can outsource this to a provider to support you.
Like we get a lot of clients coming in and asking us for RPO. The main reason is that especially in the US, like clients that come to us are like, oh, I cannot find anyone good, and if I find someone good, I'm scared that I teach someone in the US and they'll actually run off and open their own Amazon store to be my competitors and stuff like that. So I have seen that, and I know that that's an issue. So and the talent, the person who knows the Amazon stuff inside the US would cost like six figures easy, right?
Absolutely.
So like for us, we are RPO for China, for Philippines, for Pakistan, and even for the US. So if anyone needs it, we can talk about on that issue. But like going back, like RPO, like if you're a company, you want to scale, the hardest part is finding the talent, right? It's kind of like how am I supposed to grow? And I don't know how. I don't know. Let's say I don't know Facebook. I don't know advertising. How am I going to find a really good person? It's going to slow you down because you don't know the atmosphere, and how do you even hire, because you don't even know the how to use it. Usually the people that are good at hiring those kind of talent that you need are the people that knows that environment and know how to actually train, like see if this guy really knows his stuff, right? If you don't know if they could BS you, and then you can just like, okay, he sounds good, hey, let's go and hire him. And then in reality, it'll slow you down because you don't even know if it's gonna work out, and it's a lot of big trouble. So we there's all these like RPO. We have like when people come in, we'd have them do a test, and we look at their IQ, their personality, everything like that, and grit, and also going into like little like little like a test or something you could call it, and then to see if he's really the right fit for it. So and then if it looks good, then we go to the interview process, and then that's probably how we look at the person if we're going to hire them, depending on what role that is.
Yep. No, absolutely. And to that point, a lot of companies go through the RPO route because you're bringing in experts already. You don't have to train them. They come in trained. They come in to execute what you need, and hence the whole RPO piece, right? Like you're bringing the recruiters as part of your team to recruit the talent you need, and then when they find those talents, you're scaled right into it rather than running the risk of training and them leaving and all that good stuff. So yep, that's exactly the point, Howard.
Think about it, like if you can actually like off the bat get a team of 8 or 9 figure sellers team right into your company, and straight off the bat running, right? That's what we're looking at. Like if you can have, how is these big companies 8-9 figure sellers, their talent is really good, how do we hire these guys? How do we how are we supposed to find them? And if we do find them, what will we be at? What can we be at? So
Mhm.
like if starting slow, going to find people really, and not knowing the whole entire like ecosystem,
Yep.
Amazon or e-commerce, whatnot,
Mhm.
then that's gonna really slow you down. You can just like picture that.
Yep.
That's why we get a lot of big clients. It's like Goldman Sachs. You get like a big aggregators or big brands come to
Mhm.
us.
Yep, absolutely. And then again, to your point, right? It's scaling fairly quickly and then being able to hit the ground running, right? You're not ramping up in terms of like training and teaching them, what all the lingo is, right? The PPCs and then all the intricacies of any of those platforms. By going RPO or even BPO, you're basically employing the elite team already coming in and just hit the ground and ramp up very quickly. So I'd say scalability is the word that you probably want to think about. If you're at a phase in your business, in your work where you need to scale quickly, this is probably something you want to explore, right? And then usually it can scale quite quickly. Flip side to that as well is it could help you scale down quite quickly as well if you need them to.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
if you don't need them, you can actually
just let them know. Yep.
remove them,
Mhm.
remove them from your operation without having problems with,
All the
like
other
laws and stuff
laws,
like that, right?
exactly. Yep, exactly. So again, the keyword again is scalability. And when you say scale, hopefully it's scaling up, but in reality, you have to think about the scales up and down. And the best part about what Howard just shared as well is if you think about a business, you're not talking about one function, right? You probably have your operations team, you have your marketing team, you have your product team, and so you're scaling up and down in each of these areas depending on the cycle of your business, right? So yeah.
Yeah, we don't just hire brand managers or graphics designers or any like accounting. We do those too, as well as we do like IT, and we do like like Power BI, senior data analyst, and even AI people. So there's
Absolutely.
like a lot of like really not just one department that we do. So we do everywhere. Like
Absolutely.
if you guys really want to scale, like Roger said, scaling up and down depending on different
The
department.
needs. Yep.
Right now it's all about the recession. You don't know what's going to happen. Like,
Mhm.
like if you can, like, you have a big project right now and you're going to only use it for like, we only going to have someone come in for like 3 to 6 months, you say, then you can actually have this whole team come in and scale for you. And then after the 6 months, you can re-examine what the situation is within the company or within the environment, like the recession. Then you can actually grow with it. So I see that as a really
Absolutely.
good positive for us right now in this
For
environment.
business. Nope. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Was there anything like I guess in the realm of RPOs that you guys would be curious to know more of or like yeah.
Maybe you could you mentioned a BPO. Can you like kind of explain that out so that people know the different different POs out
Aspects of
there,
it. Yeah,
aspects of it,
absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, essentially, what RPO is about the recruitment process, right? When you're trying to really recruit people, you're bringing in recruiters to help you bring in the people, right? BPO is just a business process outsourcing. So, when we get down to like the marketing and all that, that's where you bring in the marketing people in, and where if you have product team or analyst team, that's where you're bringing in the specific type of people to come in to help you with that part of the business. Mhm. So essentially it's the same thing, it's just the different I guess focus, so to speak. So recruitment process outsourcing is really looking at just recruitment, but overall it's probably part of a bigger story of BPOs, which is business process outsourcing. So anything within your business that you're going to look at outsourcing is just under that umbrella of BPO. Mhm.
Can you talk about the RPO, different
Mhm.
kind of RPOs out there, so our audience can understand it more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, in my experience, I've done RPO for banks, investment banks, even manufacturing, or what we call commerce industries, right? So, uh, in terms of the different RPO types, it's really depending on the need of the client. So some of them would say, you know what, I'm going to have a big influx of, I need manufacturing people, basically, right? And so again, it's demand and forecasting. How many people do you think you need? For example, if it's like 100 people, and okay, so what's the time frame? 3 months, 6 months. Based on that, we'll deploy the people in to support that work, right? So if a client comes to me and says, "Hey, Roger, I need to hire 50 people on my assembly line in the next 3 months," I'll be like, "Okay, not a problem." In my mind, I'm already thinking, okay, each recruiters for this type of work can handle probably 20 to 30 roles. So if they need, 50, I'm going to deploy 2 people in there to help support this. If they need 100, I'll deploy, 4 or 5 people to support this. The other side to that is if a company comes in and says, you know what, we are going to look for some high level people. Like I need maybe heads of business, head of marketing, head of manufacturing or something. Roger, can you help us? That's where we would deploy, a senior recruiter to come in to help them do these very specific niche searches to help find these people for them. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, then to what Howard was talking about scalability on the business side is if they come to us and say, you know what, I need to ramp up my marketing department and I need to, get this certain product out. That's where the consultation comes in, right? So we come in, we really understand the need of the clients. Like, what are you trying to achieve? And what is your time frame to achieve that? And then it's like, okay, if the most recent example, they are, given the recession or the looming potential recession, they're like, okay, well, we need a marketing campaign for a certain product that we're going to push, right? If we don't have this product at its final stages yet, Roger, what are our options there? So with that, deploying 1 or 2 resources to look at the product, and then 2 to 3 resources at marketing so they can build that. But the consultation come in where I did share with them that once you build these in the 2 months, you're probably going to need to look at your manufacturing line, right? Like once you have this built, your manufacturing line needs to start running to produce, because otherwise you miss your window. And that's something they never thought of. And so again, it's then once you have that, deploying the people in to support the recruitment of the manufacturing line, right? And then helping them ramp up that way. Now, of course, after all this is done, they're not going to need these people anymore, right? So in my service to them, it's like, well, you don't have to worry about that because this project will run till X date, and after that, you should retain probably your product and 1 marketing person just to ensure continuity. Then the rest of the people I take back, I'm going to do something else with other clients. Yeah, so those are like the various forms of outsourcing, so to speak. Mm-hmm.
So like just Roger was saying, like we had a case where like a client didn't need a person anymore, so we would take them back into our company and reallocate them back to someone else that has needs the same role. So it's like not it's pretty good, because then we don't like fire people, we just try to reallocate them. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a really good thing, because if you don't need someone after the 6 months and you hire them, it's not really a great thing for company morale to have to like kind of lay them off or get rid of them.
Yeah, and to your point, Howard, that you mentioned earlier about you train people and then they go out and they do their own thing. Well, the reality is with these RPOs or BPOs is that there's longevity as well, right? Because we're not serving just one client. We have loads of clients where we're going to support this. So from a employee standpoint, they won't feel like I'm at risk, because if that business goes down, then it's unfortunate, but we're going to support them. But at the same time, there's other clients that we need to support where we can mobilize them to go and support there. So from an employee standpoint, yes, they can certainly go out there and do their own stuff, right? As we all can. But, when they're looking for that stability, for that knowledge, companies like Howard's and ours, that's where is another value add as a employer value proposition to the employees. Mm-hmm.
Zishan, do you have any questions you want to ask?
Yeah, so like what I have figured out, like with my experience of doing RPO with Howard, like it's a very small experience, but what I have seen, like it is, if you see the long run, then the RPO is like really cost effective. But many people like see that we have, if experienced person coming in, then we have to pay a lot. But in return, what they are getting, they like misunderstood, or like they do not like think that part, because
Mhm.
they are coming, we are like they will be getting the experienced people which will scale them like real quick. So that's the part they are missing. So I would love to have your feedback on it, Roger.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's very true. I guess what most companies don't think about is the cost of employees, right? So that's not just salary. Salary is the easy part, but what about their desk space, right? So the real estate that you need to house them, right? Their equipment, their benefits, and then of course all the legal matters behind that as well, right? So, hiring somebody stateside, depending on which state, you need to consider that. If you're doing international, like, do you have people, do you have the legal entity to hire somebody in China, for example, in Turkey, in India? Again, all those are things that some companies don't think about, and it's not as easy as just going out there and saying, "Hey, I'm going to go and hire somebody in India," for example, right? Like you need to have, the legal entities. You need to give them benefits, etc. Because to Howard's point earlier about like, yeah, you can train a freelancer and they're gone, right? There's really nothing else you can do, right? But if you go in with like a RPO of sorts, that's where you have the longevity. But if you look at it from a long run, Zishan, like your point, it is more cost effective, right? Because you're not paying for all the trailing bits, if you will. And the other part of it is almost partly like insurance, right? Like you buy insurance not because you anticipate something happening, but should something happen, you're shield from that, right? So same thing about like a RPO BPO, where if you use them and should the employee not work out for you, you can let the provider know and say, hey, this person's not working. They would remove them. Versus if you were to hire them, then you have to go through the whole legality of, can I have to performance manage them? Can I fire them? How long I have to work with them until I can fire them? How much severance I have to pay? All that you don't have to consider when you're working with a provider, right? And those are costs that people don't think about, because everyone going into this is happy. I'm scaling, I'm growing, like it's happy. And then when things happen, it's like, oh crap, what do I do now? Right.
I mean, like what you're saying, it's a cost and time, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think it's all about cost and time. The speed of you getting a really great team, and the cost of like having to even we didn't even talk about the HR's perspective, where you have to hire your own HR team to find these people.
Yep.
So that's another thing that we see that a lot of people don't take into account when they're saying,
Absolutely.
"Oh, apple to apple,"
Exactly. And that's what the RPO is, right? Like you don't need to hire your recruiting team to help you recruit these people. Like you get, like Howard and team to say, hey, help me find these people.
Well, when you were talking about insurance, it's great, because what it is also like, if someone leaves for our RPO, right? Because we're in the e-commerce space and we're in the Amazon space. For our RPO is like we train them, the basic training, what we need to have for
Mhm.
our people coming in. After we train them for what it is, then we'll deploy them into your company,
Mhm.
and as well as if they actually uh, leave, we would make sure that we have someone coming in to replace them. So making sure that none of your operation will be slowed down or get affected, because we have these niche people in our office or in within our reach, right? So
Absolutely.
that's like insurance, right?
Yep. Absolutely. And hopefully that answers your question, Zishan, about like from a finance perspective and just looking at it long term from a cost and ROI perspective. Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. And another thing I would like to add here, like mostly we like how I said, like we are in the e-commerce space, so mostly people are scared about the confidentiality part.
Hmm.
So like I would like to add here, like we track everything and we support the our team members. If they
Hmm.
get stuck on anything, we support them. And if there is any confidentiality issue, we take care of that as well, because we have all the tools running and we are tracking everything. So that
Yep.
is another good point of like RPO.
Yep. Absolutely. There is that confidentiality.
I mean, like, the thing is, like, when a client is deployed into your business, you are limited to the amount of knowledge that you and that particular person that is coming in knows. But with RPO, with a team in the back end, the RPO person that comes into your office can actually ask our team for help,
Hmm.
to help with, we're talking about many great minds, right? So then they can actually fix stuff faster than if you were gonna try to figure it out yourself. One, for a big client, a customer, where if we can actually fix their problems, it could save them, hundreds of
Hundreds.
thousands of dollars. I'm
Hmm.
talking about,
Yep.
some of our big sellers that we're
Yep.
supporting.
And that's exactly it. You're bringing in the experts, right? You're not having to train, a rather maybe novice person trying to figure it out, right? You have the backing of a knowledge base, so to speak. Hmm. Best practice is what we call it. You're bringing in the best practice into your client's organization so they can ramp up quickly rather than learning as they go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we have like SOPs, we have wikis and stuff like that in our company. So when and they have a free time, they can actually research these kind of
Yep.
problems.
Absolutely. And you probably have leaders that help guide, right? So again, you're not spending hours trying to research and find it. You just message your leader and they can probably jump in. Mhm.
Team leads, heads,
Yep. There you
directors.
go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, definitely from a scale perspective, like this is definitely something to consider if you're trying to scale. Because yeah, from a cost perspective, it's more efficient, more cost effective, I should say. And then from an operation standpoint, it's more effective and efficient. Mhm. Yeah.
It's you have any good questions right there, Zishan, for him?
Yeah. So I would like to ask the audience if they have any questions, like they can put the on the comment section, and we will take those
Yeah.
questions
We'll
as
address
well.
those. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I guess oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying something side, but go ahead, finish what you're saying.
Oh no, I was gonna say like while we're waiting for those comments and questions, I could certainly share some best practices that we've seen for e-commerce as well, right? So as I mentioned, a lot of the task that e-commerce would be looking at are the repeatable ones, right? So it's almost like the standard replies to queries that you get, submitting orders, things of that sort. Very, very scalable for a provider to be able to deploy into your firm, your companies to just take it to the next level. On top of that, though, is a lot of tricks to the trade. So when you have sort of yourself and your staff trying to do it, a lot of these e-commerce companies, they have a lot of updates. So it's important that you have a team of people that gets up to date very, very quickly and understands how to use that. And in these service providers, ourselves included, we're able to share those knowledge even before it becomes mainstream, right? So in my world, a lot of it is sharing policies that might change something for each of my clients and putting them aware of it and saying, hey, there's this policy change in this state. You have employees in this state. You probably need to look at this, right? Hey, your products are going to this part of the world. There's this policy that has just come in place. It might affect you. You might need to look at that, right? So things of that sort. Mm-hmm.
We had a client. I think we sent out a little snippet of his testimonial on our service and stuff. It was like really interesting. Like we were doing their PPC, and we're his PPC agency, and we're doing this PPC, and we're looking at why aren't these keywords getting ranked up. So we dig deeper and saw that he was really suppressed. And we saw that, and then we went in and even contacted Amazon on trying to unsuppress all their listing that was having problems. So it was like he was really surprised, and that's why he did the testimonial, because no PPC agency usually would go down to that level in order to help with their PPC, right? It's mean like, oh, you go figure it out. This product, this ASIN has problems. You figure it out, But we go in there and we actually fix the problem for them. And then after that, he said, "Wow, never had this kind of experience." And then he went in and hired a RPO person from us, so for managing their brands and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and to that story, it's like, again, he could totally have just gone and hired a freelancer to help look, right? It'll probably take a month to figure that out, possibly, but because they have somebody like like your service, Howard, you've probably seen it elsewhere, so you kind of know what you're looking for, versus going in blind and trying to figure it out. But hey, both ways works. Like some companies feel like they want to do it themselves, save a bit of that money in the front. So just on to your comment about just like thinking about the cost long run, ROIs on the long run. There's merit to both sides of it, but sometimes it's just a lot faster when you look at the scalabilities and the outsourcing option. So
yeah.
Do you get any questions?
So I would like to add here, like on the teams, like the team we hire. I would like to add here, like Howard is like really caring person. So we actually pay the best in the industry right now, which I can probably say here in Pakistan, like we are paying the best. There is no other agency who is paying like what we are paying in terms of salary. So that is the main that is on the part of the team members who wants to join, the talent who is like going after the freelancing stuff, but they are like they do not have the consistent income. So here becomes like on for those people as well, like they have the consistent income, they have the high paying salary, and they have the real up to date knowledge as well. So that's how we play on the team side as well.
Yeah.
I mean, our experts, we have Zishan here, and we have like Baldwin, we have like Anthony Lee, and we got me here. Like these are like people in the industry that is well known. So like there is like a lot of really great minds in the company, as well as we have great team leaders and heads. We have China, we got heads, we have like team leaders in Pakistan and so forth. So it's like a really good structure that we have here.
Perfect.
There was I think there was a situation where like people really wanted in Pakistan, actually they really wanted to come and work for us. So we said, we don't have anything available. So they said, they'll wait, or they'll go try another position and stuff, because they heard that we're like one of the best or something like that.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah. So Roger, like if you could walk us through the process, like if anyone wants to have the RPO, like how the process goes, they have to provide the job description and how it goes, so
Yeah,
people can really
absolutely.
understand, like if they have to jump in, like how the process goes.
Sure. No, good question there. So typically I would say to engage the provider, right? And you want to share with them. And remember, this is a partnership, right? So the more information that you're willing and can share, the better, because the provider is going to try to partner with you, right? But I understand there are some trade secrets, so there are things that you probably don't want to say too much. But essentially, you want to come to the table with a need. Like, what are you trying to achieve? What do you think you need? Right. And so typically it will be like, job descriptions. Well, if we talk about recruiting aspects of it, it's like, what roles are you trying to recruit? What is the seniority of those levels? How many of those? But ultimately, it comes down to that core question: what are you trying to achieve? Okay. So once you're able to share that with your provider, usually, we will take that in, we will dissect it, digest it, and then come back to you with a consultation of sorts. So, for example, okay, you're trying to look for 10 PPC consultants, right? So, okay, and you're trying to do that for 100 ASINs. So, okay, we might come back and say, yep, we can grab those for you. We're going to hire them. We would suggest, maybe a third of them at the higher level, right? And then 60% of them on the junior level, because you don't need so many high level people. You can just do the junior level people. Or we may also say, hey, 100 ASINs, you could probably tackle that with far less people if you do, more senior people. Again, the more information you can share, then the service providers would be able to take what you need, digest it, and then come back to you with like, okay, here's the plan. This is what we think we should do, and then the time frame of it. And then, of course, sign the agreement. In your agreements, you want to make sure that you're covering all the items that you can think of, but just always be aware that there are probably aspects of it that come up when you're supporting it. And when I say aspects, it's usually different role types. So you'll come in, you tell me that you want marketers because for PPCs. Then maybe 2 months down the road, you're like, wow, actually now I need to look at the product side because all this is just it's all the products are selling so fast. I need to tackle the front end of getting the products. And so from that angle, you want to again be open. Your provider should be able to kind of consult you on the whole like life cycle. Does that help?
Yeah. So that's great. So guys, if you have any questions, please put on the comment section. Yeah, Howard.
So like I was in Hong Kong for stuck in a year. So me and Roger goes and plays tennis and drink and have fun with our friends over there. And we call it Happy Buddies.
Happy
right?
Buddies group. Yeah.
Happy Buddies group, and then we have like a man cave, and there's
Absolutely.
like a big screen TV with
an
a
arcade
machine with Street Fighters. We were playing Street
yeah.
Fighters, and there's ping
Absolutely.
pong. I think
Yep.
I think it's a ping pong.
Beer
And then
pong.
beer pong, and we got
pongs,
a
yeah.
refrigerator with fear
Games.
of beer and stuff like that.
Absolutely. All the good times, all the fun times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we I started RPO like 2 years plus. I think it was when in Hong Kong, right? When we were doing it in Hong Kong. So that's where I started learning more about this part of the industry where there's a big need for this because there are a lot of people with a lot of problems regarding hiring and scaling and being keeping up with the competitors and stuff like that. So that's where I kind of was interested in and try to learn more about it, and that's where we started RPO within Signalytics.
Absolutely. Those were fun times, and that's where work hard, play hard, and that's where ideas come about, and then you hear the needs as well, right? Because in those happy buddies, there's some big sellers in there as well, and you just start talking and you understand now actually a lot of people are looking for these talent. How do we help? Right. So.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when one time the big seller was talking to us. Well, he's one of our clients, right? So he was talking to us, and Roger was nodding, and I say, "This is good stuff." And then all of a sudden, we wake up the next morning. I know we were nodding at something, but it was good stuff. But I don't know what he said. I forgot what he said because we were all drunk.
I did take notes though. I did put it in my phone. I took notes when I was drunk. I didn't really understand half of it, but hey, I took notes.
Yeah, I told him. I said, "Yeah, this is good stuff. You should take notes or something like that." Because the next day we not knowing people that knows me because I really like to drink, and sometimes I have really good friends in the industry, and they take care of me and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful for that. So if you see some of my posts saying, "Oh, I think I got blacked out," and stuff like that, everyone say, "Oh, again?" It says, "Yeah, we're in Las Vegas. I try to be smarter on it when I'm with my wife. I feel more safe. I don't do it like by myself or with people that I don't know, and then I'd be on the street like on the ground or something. That no one taking care of me and stuff like that. But at events, people take care of me and I'm good and stuff like that.
Sounds good. Yeah, those are good times. Absolutely.
I mean, in Hong Kong and in China, everything moves fast. They're like working machines. You could say like something like how everyone thinks of it as New York, but on speed or steroids. I don't know, speed or something like that. They're like fast. They think fast, they talk fast, they work fast, they network fast. So like like here in the U.S., where Rogers at, I think where you at located, Silicon Valley area,
Yep,
or
Silicon Valley.
so he's located in Silicon Valley, and then like everyone is over there is like not as like networking as I think Hong Kong, I would say, right?
Yeah. Now
Because
it might just be like geography or all that, but yeah, it's a little bit slower, I would say, than Asia. Asia is definitely booming. It's going crazy. That said, I mean, Silicon Valley still, well, I should say wherever you are in the world, you're it's still good because that's where you are, obviously, right? And you adapt to your local areas because Silicon Valley has some of the greatest minds, right? Like best thinkers. So again, you adapt to where you are. So
I mean, saying that Hong Kong is one really fast growing, and in RPO, BPO, in Hong Kong is very popular, right? Is it?
it's gaining popularity across the world. Um, yeah, I'd say across the world. Probably a little bit more adopted in the U.S. Hong Kong because it's a financial center, but in China, not yet.
Yeah, in China not yet, but in Hong Kong, I think it's financially like a financial center. They're always looking for this financial talent because they move fast, right?
Yep,
So they need to
absolutely.
be fast. And in the U.S. too, I hear it a lot too as well.
Mm, yeah, absolutely. So I know like UK and Singapore, those are quite prevalent. So yeah.
Yeah, because in the industry like e-commerce or Amazon, it's like it's considered like not a billion dollar in this, like not a lot of billion dollar brands or something like that. So they don't really think of it as in the RPOs. The point of view and stuff like that. But I think they should, even for smaller sellers. Once
Absolutely.
again, we're repeating myself. Smaller sellers, we can actually ramp you up really quickly with knowledgeable people and talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
Zishan, do you have anything else you want to say? Closing, or if there's no any questions?
Yeah, I think that's it. Like people got an idea what is RPO and how it goes and how we take care of the brands and how we take care of the teams. So like the last question we ask for like every client, every guest,
Hmm.
like the fun fact, like what is the funniest thing happened to you, Roger, in your corporate journey or in your business?
In the corporate, that's a good question. I'd probably say, for this call, it'll be the times where Howard and I would, be with our happy buddies, having lots of fun. But in between all those fun, we have really good golden nuggets of knowledge, and then we forget about them. At the moment, it's really intense. We're hearing it, and then we try to remember it the next morning.
So in a group, like it's all about networking, right? So you within your network, the people that we hang out with, within uh that man cave or that happy buddy group, we call it happy buddy, but it's like a little like you could call it like a mastermind or like a group. Everyone has their own different industry that they had. We have some people who were doing like food industry, right? And then we had
Mm-hmm.
another one that does real estate industry, and we had another one that does e-commerce industry, and we had Roger and me. We had different industries and stuff like that combines together, and you guys have more knowledge of other industries as well as opportunity that they can help bring you into, or you help them bring each other into. So
Mm-hmm.
it's great to have like go out there, mingle with people. You see me,
Absolutely.
why you see me out there all the time? Not just because I want to drink, but maybe it is. But like go
Probably a
out
big
there,
factor, huh?
yeah, just go out there and just be more take yourself out of your comfort zone if you're an
Hmm.
introvert, and try to get out there and learn from other people, like go to other
Absolutely.
events. Like I went to an event last week in Las Vegas a couple days ago. I think I came back, I
Hmm.
learned a lot of good stuff. Even the professor learning every day.
Absolutely.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
that's correct. Like, yeah, learning never stops. I totally agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful. But thank you.
Uh,
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us and taking out your time and giving us the information what really like needs to know we need to know in the current space. So thank you so much, Roger, for joining us
Pleasure.
today.
Of course. Pleasure.
Thank you, Roger.
Have a good one. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye.